game of AFL is a fast-paced, intermittent-style game which incorporates a bunch of various skills, such as kicking, handballing, bouncing, marking, and tackling. Of utmost importance is the drop punt kick, which is the most commonly used kick in the game. When executed properly, the drop punt provides great accuracy and can be used over a variety of distances. The following 5-week training program aims to teach a novice learner how to properly execute the drop punt kick. In a game situation, the drop punt is classified as an open motor skill because the individual must act according to the changing environment, such as what direction their teammate is leading. The drop punt uses predominantly large muscles, such as the quadriceps and hamstrings, making it more of a gross motor skill. And the drop punt is considered a discrete movement as it has a distinct beginning and end point, beginning with the ball drop and ending with the follow through of the kicking leg. Using Gentile's two-dimensional taxonomy, the drop punt is considered a 4D skill, which is considered the toughest skill to perform. This is because the drop punt involves object manipulation, such as when you drop the ball onto your foot. It involves body transport and is performed while in motion. And finally, intertrial variability, meaning the regulatory conditions of the skill can change from one trial to the next. The drop punt can be broken into 5 distinct phases: ball grip, ensuring hands are evenly spread with the laces facing forwards, ball drop, leg swing, ball contact, and follow through.
Before the learner attempts the skill themselves, a simple demonstration should be given. This gives the learner a visual representation of what the skill should look like when performed properly. Fitz proposes 3 stages of learning: the cognitive stage, which is the initial stage where the learner is new to the skill and expected to make errors. This is where we see the most rapid improvement. The associative stage comes next. This is where the learner begins to understand how the various components of the skill interrelate. The autonomous stage is last, and this is when the skill begins to become automatic for the learner, allowing them to focus their attention on other aspects of performance. We anticipate the learner will be in the associative stage of learning at completion of the program.
In order to measure the difference in performance before and after the 5-week training program, a quantitative and qualitative test will be administered. The quantitative test will measure accuracy in front of goal, whilst the qualitative test will analyse kicking technique based on the 5 key aspects. The same 2 tests will be conducted again after a 1-week period of no training or coaching, to measure how well the learner retained information from the program. This is called the retention test. The transfer test will be the same as the quantitative test. However, this time a man will stand on the mark, acting as a distraction for the learner. This measures how well the learner can adapt and perform the skill in a different situation.
The goal of week 1 is to allow the learner to become familiar with the skill. Research has found that optimal learning results when people practice skills in more frequent and shorter practice sessions. For this reason, our program involves 3 sessions a week, with each session lasting no longer than 30 minutes. In week 1 of the program, part practice will be used to help break up the different segments of the skill for the learner. From week 2 onwards, the sessions will be predominantly whole practice. Previous experience or skills learned from another sport can have an impact on performance of other skills. In our program, we had the learner kick a soccer ball to help them familiarise themselves with the technique of the drop punt.
In week 2, we wanted the learner to begin to focus getting the ball to spin correctly whilst also increasing the distance of their kick. Augmented feedback should be provided regularly over the first 2 weeks of the program, making sure any errors in the learner's technique are being corrected. This is called knowledge of performance, which focuses more on the performance of the skill rather than the result. The learner should also be making an effort to learn the verbal cues associated with the skill. These are short, concise phrases that focus the learner's attention towards the key aspects of the skill.
In the third week of the program, the learner should be focused on improving the accuracy of their kick, as well as learning how to kick on the run. Too much feedback on performance can often be detrimental for a new learner, as they can become reliant on receiving feedback. In week 3, less feedback will be given to the learner, encouraging them to correct their own errors.
In week 4, the learner should be trying to make less errors while being exposed to match-like situations, such as having a defender on your tail. In order to foster improvement, different motivational strategies can be utilised. The learner should be intrinsically motivating themselves by setting personal goals and challenges, such as challenging themselves to kick 10 goals in a row before the end of training. Extrinsic motivation strategies could also be implemented, such as punishing themselves with push-ups if they miss a goal.
The final week of the program is about decision making and exposing the learner to more difficult match-like situations.
Left.
Throughout the program, a variety of practice tools should be used to keep the learner interested. In week 5, the learner may supplement the football with a tennis ball for an added challenge. To ensure the learner pays attention throughout each session, a simple quiz should be taken at the end of each week, quizzing the learner on what they have learnt and understood.
Yeah.